Good morning, girls. Let us begin with our new chapter, new unit in J2EE, that is JSP. In the previous sessions, we completed our topic RMI and Servlet, right? At the end, we covered Servlet with JDBC. We did the connection with Oracle database as well as with Access database. Now, in today's session, we are going to start a new unit, namely JSP, Java Server Page, and Java Beans. Here, the weightage of this chapter is 20%. The topic covered in this unit is introduction of JSP and some basic concepts. Then we will compare the JSP and Servlet. Then we will learn the architecture of JSP as well as life cycle of JSP. Then we will clear the concept of JSP element, and the subtopic of this main topic are directive element, scriptive element, action element. Directive elements will include page, include, and taglet. Scripting elements will cover declaration, scriptlets, and expression. And action element will cover parameter, include, forward, and plugin. Then we will learn JSP implicit object. After that, JSP scope. Then we will also include the include and forward action in JSP, right? That we have also learned in Servlet also. Then we will cover session and cookie in JSP, how to handle session and cookie in JSP, error handling and exception handling with JSP. Then we will do the connection with Oracle and Access through JSP pages, right? So what we have learned in Servlet, the same topic we will cover for JSP also. After that, here you can see one more topic, Java Beans. We'll cover the Java Bean properties, Java Bean methods, some common Java Bean packaging, right? This portion is very small. The second unit, the second chapter is very small. Mostly in this unit we will learn about JSP. So let us start with introduction to JSP. The full form of JSP is Java Server Page. This is a technology used to create a web application. As we can create a web application through Servlet, in a similar way, this technology is also used for creating web applications. It focuses more on presentation logic of the web application. Presentation logic means we can say that the representation of pages or through which we can interact with our computer, right? Way of presentation means to put buttons, icons, windows on our screen. That is presentation logic. So JSP focuses more on presentation logic for our web application. These pages are easier to maintain than a servlet, right? JSP pages are opposite of servlets. It is totally opposite of servlets. Servlet adds HTML code inside the Java code. As we have gone through lots of example of servlet, if you have observed, we have embedded the code of HTML in our servlet pages with our Java code, right? Exactly opposite to this, JSP adds Java code inside the HTML page. Means we'll do the HTML coding and then we will include our Java code in that HTML part, right? Everything a servlet can do is also JSP can do. Whatever you can do with the servlet, a JSP pages can also do it. JSP enables us to write HTML pages containing tags that run powerful Java programs. As all of you are aware of some HTML tags, right? In a similar way, JSP also allow us to insert their own tags to run the Java programs with HTML. JSP separates presentation and business logic, as web designer cannot design and update JSP pages without learning the Java language, and Java developer can also write a code without concerning the web design. Here you can do the separation of business logic and presentation, right? There no need to know both the things for a single user. Web designer can do their own work of designing the web pages, whereas the programmer who knows the Java language can develop a business logic without concerning the web design. No need to know about HTML pages, right? So both the things can do in a separate way. Now let us see how JSP and servlet both can do the same thing. Here JSP pages are converted into servlet by the web container. As all of you know that web container can do lot of work for servlets. Here the main task of web container is to convert the JSP pages into servlet page. The container translates a JSP page into servlet class source file. Source file means the file with Java extension, right? The duty of container is to convert the Java pages into servlet class source file and then compile it into a Java servlet class. The source file translated by container, right? After compilation it converted into its equal class file. As we have learned in the cycle of servlet, first we create a Java file and then after compilation we get a class file. In the same way here we will convert here we will create a JSP page first, then it will be converted into a source file of servlet with Java extension by web container, and then after compilation we will get a servlet class file, Java servlet class file. Here you can see the pictorial diagram of this process. Here we have one JSP file with us, namely first.jsp. It is translated to first.jsp.java file by the container, right? Then the file which is called source file or the file with Java extension, will compile this file and we will get a class file of this file, right? And this will be loaded as a servlet in our website. So this is the pictorial form how the JSP become a servlet. The whole duty is performed by a web container. Okay, now what are the advantages of JSP? So here you can see the list of advantages of JSP. Number one is easy to maintain. Second is high performance and scalability. And third one is JSP is built on Java technology, so it is platform independent. So whatever advantages of Java language we get, that all advantages we get for JSP as well. Okay, now let us learn about the life cycle of JSP, how it executes in our websites. We can understand with the help of life cycle of JSP. A JSP page is converted into servlet in order to service the request sent by a client. The translation of a JSP page to a servlet is called life cycle of JSP, that we have already seen in previous topic, right? JSP cycle consists of some steps. That steps are listed here. You can see the list of all the steps. Let us see one by one. Number 1, translation of JSP to servlet code. Whatever you write in JSP coding, that will be converted to servlet code first. Then in the second step, compilation of servlet to bytecode. Here the servlet will be compiled by the container and it will be converted into its equal bytecode. Then loading the servlet class. After that, in the fourth step, servlet instance will be created. Then in the fifth step, initialization by calling JSP init method, right? It will be called by the JSP init method for initializing all the parameters. Then in the sixth step, request processing by calling JSP service method. In the seventh step, destroying by calling JSP destroy method, right? It will be destroyed by this method. Now you can see the pictorial form of JSP lifecycle. You can see the web server here. All the steps are given. Number 1, hello.jsp. The programmer will create this page, JSP page, right? It will be converted into servlet source file with the help of web server, and we will get a new file, namely hello_jsp.java. This file has an extension Java. In the next step, after compilation of this file, we will get hello.jsp.class file, right? This is also done by the web server. After the conversion of this servlet file into its equal class file, the main steps begins, that are loading the servlet class. Here it will load the servlet class. Then in the fourth step, it will create the servlet instance, right? This internal cycle is same as the cycle of servlet, right? Then in the fifth step, it will call the init method, JSP init. Your name is little bit changed, JSP init, and this will initialize all the parameters required for this file. Then in the step number 6, service method will be called for fulfilling the request sent by client. And in the last step, the JSP destroy method will be called. This method will destroy all the unnecessary objects created by the servlet, right? And here you can see the web container translate JSP code into a servlet class, source file .java extension file, then compile that into a Java servlet class, In the third step, the servlet class bytecode is loaded using the class loader. The container then creates an instance of that servlet class. The initialized servlet can now service request. For each request, the web container call the JSP service method. When the container removes the servlet instance from service, it calls the JSP destroy method to perform any required cleanup. Now let us see what happens to a JSP when it is translated into servlet. As we have gone through the cycle and we learned that it does the translation of JSP to servlet code. So our question is, what happens to a JSP when it is translated into servlet, right? So let us see what really happens with the JSP code when it is translated into servlet by the web container. Here you can see the JSP code. As I told you that here we can see the embedded code of HTML and servlet. You can insert your Java code in HTML portion, right? So here an example is given. One example is shown on the screen. HTML tag begin, head tag begin, title tag begin, head tag over. This is a coding of HTML. Now inside it you can see one different tag is inserted in existing HTML code. The selected part is a code of JSP, right? We don't know how to do the coding, that we are going to learn now in this chapter in successive sessions. Okay, so you just assume that this is a code of JSP, then body tag begin, then label. Again the font you can see in blue color, these are of JSP coding, right? The above JSP page becomes this servlet. Here the equal servlet page is given. See, public class hello JSP. This will be created by a web container which always extends HTTP servlet. This will automatically create a JSP service method, as we have learnt in servlet chapter that it has two parameters of type HTTP servlet request and of type HTTP servlet response. This method also have same parameters JSP service, right, which can throw IO exception and servlet exception. Now you are very well aware of this code, as we have done this coding for all the servlet example. Same will be done by the web container, right? No need to define it ourselves. You have to just insert your JSP tag in HTML coding, HTML file, that will be converted automatically into your source file by the web container. As you can see the equal of this file, see print writer out. As you know that out is an object of print writer class. Okay, then response.set content type text/HTML, out.write HTML body tag begin. Then here what we have done, integer count variable, one variable is set, right, of type integer, and it is initialized with 0. Same here you can see. Then the label is placed. Page count is the same label you can find in your HTML file also. Here it is. Then out.print ++ count. This is again you can see over here, right? And out.write at the end, body tag over and HTML tag over. So this is the coding done by the web container itself. No need to do it by the programmer, right? The above JSP page becomes this servlet, this one, automatically by the web container. So you can compare both these codes. One is JSP code, and here the servlet code is also given. Which one is easier? You can judge yourself. It is better to do JSP code than servlets, and it will be converted to its equal servlet coding by the web container, right? So it is better way to go through the JSP. Now in the next session we are going to learn JSP scripting element, some scripting element. Here we will cover directive element, scripting element, and action element, right? And the subtype of all these elements. As you can see, there are 5 different types of scripting elements available in JSP, namely comment, directive, declaration, and scriptlet and expression, right? These are the scripting element available in JSP. In the second column, the example of each scripting elements are given. Here you can see the example of comment, directive, declaration, scriptlets, and expression. Okay, so how to use these elements in JSP page, that you can see here. As you can see, this is a tag used for JSP, right? And you can do your coding in between these tags. Here also, second time we use the JSP tag. Again, I have done some coding between this JSP tags for printing something on our web page. Okay, let us try to understand the code. HTML tag, head tag, and title tag. Title tag, this will display the title on your web page, my first JSP page. The title is my first JSP page. Head tag is over. Here we want to initialize a variable, right? The name of variable is count. So we cannot initialize the variable in HTML file. As you know that we can create only static content through HTML. It is not possible to change the values of variable, so we must enclose this variable in tags of JSP. That I have done here. Integer count. Count is a variable which is initialized with 0 and its data type is integer, right? After that, body tag begin. Here I want to display a message on the web page. Page count is, okay, and then I want to display the number of page refresh. For that I will do the increment of this variable. Again, that is not possible in HTML code, so I have to use a JSP tag for this. Here you can see the tag. In between you can place your Java code. So we are aware of this method, out.println method, and inside the bracket I wrote plus plus count, means increment of this variable, right? After that, again HTML code, body tag over and HTML tag over. You can even do this coding through your servlet, as we have learned in our previous sessions, previous chapter, previous unit, right? we can create one public class which can extend HTTP servlet, and it has, if we talk about the servlet, then it has a one service method. This is a code done for JSP, so the name of method is JSP service. But if you are doing a pure servlet code, then here we need a method with name service only, which has two parameters of type request and type response, right? Inside the service method, we can create one object of print writer class, namely out equals to response dot get writer method will take, because we want to send some response back to the client machine, right? And we want to write something on the web page, so we have to use the get writer method. Now with the help of this object, we'll set the content type, that is text and HTML. Okay, whatever we have done in our JSP page, that also we are doing over here. Here you can see that HTML tag begin and body tag begin. As I have told you that the main difference between JSP and Servlet is, in case of Servlet, we always embed the code of HTML in our Java page. Exactly opposite to this, in JSP we always embed the Java code in our HTML page, right? So here you can see Java code, and then we have embedded the HTML code with this plain Java source code, right? In the next line, one variable is declared and it is initialized on the same line. The data type of this variable is integer. Then one label we cannot directly place on the web page, so here you have to enclose this content in a double quotation mark, and you can display this content on the web page with the help of write method, right? Out.write. Then we want to do the increment of this variable, so again we'll take ++ count. This will do the increment of this variable, and we want to print that value on a browser, so we'll take this value inside the bracket out.print. At the end, we'll complete the tag. Body tag is over. As you can see, HTML tag is also over, right? This is a code for your servlet. This both codes are equal. So in case of JSP, no need to do this all things, right? This is a better way to do the servlet coding. If you go through the JSP code, it is a better way compared to servlet. So how to use these tags, that we will learn in our next session, JSP scripting elements, and we will cover all the types of scripting elements in our next session. So see you in next session. Thank you.